direct. And so, they tried just to create the opposite thing. They said he was as subtle as a sledgehammer. With a sledgehammer, you can't really be subtle. So it was subtle as a sledgehammer. And that's how the sledging word came, the sledgehammer, sledging word came. And I do hope that after the curtsies at the start of today's show, the sledging will come about from both these, very, very, competitive players and wonderful players who have achieved so much for their countries. And at the end of the day, when you look at that, I think both have been wonderful ambassadors for their countries whenever they've gone, wherever they've gone. Matthew is well loved in India. We know that, India has taken him to heart. You know that, and I think he'll have a few stories to tell about Matthew and also about India. So I'm pretty certain it's going to be a very, very interesting episode today. I have unfortunately to attend. I'm covering the game at 3:30, and I have a call time at 1 o'clock, so I won't be there. But I'm looking forward to getting the episode on the YouTube. And to all of you, I would like just to say, enjoy the day to Nishant and Jaya. Thank you so much for getting this going. Thank you so much. If you go to the side of the edge, that is what can happen. But this is this idea of Nishant and Jaya's of starting the mid-wicket tails is an absolutely wonderful idea, because there's so many stories that, as you said earlier on, so many stories that happen on the 22 yards. Then sometimes in the change room as well. Change room is generally within your own team, but when you talk about the 22 yards, it's between different teams where they have something to say to each other. And that is something that obviously, despite the fact that there are stump mics now, there weren't stump mics during our time, so there, a lot of the stuff didn't go anywhere now. But now with stump mic, you can sometimes hear the conversation that goes on. And that is the whole idea, to try and say that, look, at the end of the day, this is a game, when you play for your country, you're giving it just about everything. You're really, blood, sweat, toil and tears, as they say. You're giving it everything to make sure that you perform to the best of your ability. So that
now, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it again. All our luminaries on stage.
Sunil sir, how do you see this, from your time to now? A lot has changed, as you said, about sledging, and there have been a lot of, talks, chatter around how the youngsters should be behaving themselves, the IPL around and everything. What is your take, with the code of conduct that's come in place, and the youngsters, there have been quite a few cases in the IPL as well. So do you think that youngsters should be a little more careful about how they conduct themselves on the field, or?
Look, in the heat of the moment, things happen. So I guess it's not that youngsters anybody can snap. That's what happens. But that's not what mid-wicket stories. Mid-wicket stories is just generally about things that might have taken place off the field, where you might have pulled each other's legs. There might have been something where you had some funny incident that can happen. People sort of playing a prank on a teammate. So that is what that's what the whole idea about that is, to bring despite the seriousness of international competition, to bring some of the banter, the lighter side that goes on and off the field. I think that's the whole idea.
Sunil, you played against a West Indies side and that fast bowling unit who never sledged. Even without sledging, how intimidating they were.
They would stand in front of you at the end of the follow-through, maybe just where you are, maybe a couple of paces behind where you were, and if you're standing there, and they would just look at you and raise your eyebrows and look at you like that. That was enough. They didn't have to say any word. When they looked at you like that, how come you still survived that kind of situation? Why aren't you back in the pavilion? So that was enough. They didn't have to say a word.
See this, from your time to now, a lot has changed, as you said, with sledging, and there have been a lot of, talks, chatter around how the youngsters should be behaving themselves, the IPL around and everything. What does it take, with the code of conduct that's come in place, and the youngsters, there have been quite a few cases in the IPL as well. So do you think that youngsters should be a little more careful about how they conduct themselves on the field, or?
Look, in the heat of the moment, things happen. So I guess it's not that you teach youngsters anything. Anybody can snap. That's what happens. And, but that's not what mid-wicket stories. Mid-wicket stories is just generally about things that might have taken place off the field, where you might have pulled each other's legs. There might have been something where you had some funny incident that can happen. People sort of playing a prank on a teammate. So that is what that's what the whole idea about that is. To bring despite the seriousness of international competition, to bring some of the banter, the lighter side that goes on and off the field. I think that's the whole idea.
Shamik?
Sunny bhai, you played against a West Indies side and that fast bowling unit who never sledged. Even without sledging, how intimidating they were.
Oh, I think they would stand in front of you at the end of the follow through, maybe just where you are, maybe a couple of paces behind where you are, if you're standing there, and they would just look at you and raise your eyebrows and look at you. That was enough. They didn't have to say it. When they looked at you like that, how come you still survived that kind of situation? Why aren't you back in the pavilion? So that was enough. They didn't have to say a word.
So basically, there was a clip played where of the 1981 match. So something similar happened in the IPL match, Virat and.
No, nothing similar.
No. What I mean is,
nowhere compared.
it will be a good story to later on.
I suppose you'll have to ask both of them. It might be their part of the 18th edition of today, the 18th edition of.
Nishant bhai and Jaya ma'am, what was the thought behind mid-wicket stories? How did it come about?
So we just thought that a lot of these things happen at the dressing room, at the ground, and people don't know about it. Today the social media, you can see a lot of reels around, but actually we wanted to just structure it in a way where people can come talk about their stories and what happened between them. So unfortunately, Mid-Wicket Stories is the only structured platform today for legends to talk on a stage, and which can be there on the on the public domain.
Jaya ma'am?
Yeah, basically, I have fought for making it exclusive. That I disagreed with Nishant when he did the first one. We didn't have budgets, but we still managed, and Sir has supported out and out, and that was quite like a very big support for us, morally also. And somebody physically coming and letting us know what are the things. Every event has been a new learning experience for both of us. We've learned what not to do and what to do, right? The idea is to get the legends, arch rivals, together on a single platform beyond the borders of different countries, and who can speak, and you can see the emotions of the people. You can see how they are humans, whatever the controversy is. So social media is a deceiving place today. There are a lot of false narratives. Over here you see the legend in person, you can interact with them and also see them how human they are. And you can ask these questions to them.
Our motto is simple, very clear. The fierce rival on the field and the mutual admiration and friendship out the field at Mid-Wicket Stories is evident.
सर वही मेरा सवाल वही है कि आपने वनडे क्रिकेट देखा, आपने टेस्ट देखा है, T20 अभी चल रहा है, तो T20 में भी अभी 258 विनिंग स्कोर नहीं माना जाता, तो क्या क्रिकेट का फॉर्मेट अभी और T60 की तरफ शॉर्टर होता जा रहा है, ये आने वाले दौर में T60 की तरफ आएगा? What's your take on that?
Pertaining to the
So pertaining to the topic, I mean, when we look at something like Mid-Wicket Stories, where former players come up and share their stories when the entire thing has gone in the past, in the sense that the emotions have settled down, there has probably died down, the banter has probably gone away. How important does it become for the modern day cricketer, especially with the boon and bane of social media around, to be in the moment and ensure that the right message is being sent across to every single child who's kind of learning and watching from them, and at the end, when they do come to learn about these stories few years down the line, there's not much difference from what they had learned in the past.
I think today probably it is in the public domain a lot sooner than what it was in the past. Like for example, the clip that you saw of the 1981 thing, it has come. I mean, there have been videos of the whole incident, but with two people, A.B. and talking about it, I think that's probably the first time where I think people got to know what happened. So it's taken that long, but now I think today it is probably thanks to the public media, it is probably more immediate. It will probably come through a lot things. And like with anything else, I think everybody tries to be once you start getting up there to be the best role model that they can be. That is just that's how you're brought up. You want to be the best role model, and all of us are human. So all of us at some time or maybe some more time will fail that standard. That is just natural because none of us is perfect.
Okay, one more question. One more question. Yeah, last question. Yeah.
Sir, so imagine the last evening's last session, when the sledging happens, does the batsman carry that thing in mind, and when he comes on the next day, does it still haunts its mind while playing, or it takes off his mind and he focuses on the game?
It's an individual thing. Some people are affected. Some people can avoid it. Some people look upon it as fuel to recharge. It all depends on every individual's personality.